What's good, y'all? What's good, Real Talk Squad? This is Miles. You are listening to Real Talk Miles Johnson, where you know we always keep it real. Let's get straight into it, man. It's been a little minute since I did my intro. Like, comment, subscribe, do all that jazz. Show to friend, show to friend. Let's get into this episode. I'm going to rank my top 4 QBs in the NFC East. Number 1, Jalen Hurts. Is it even a question? It's not a question. And frankly, it's not close. Until your quarterback gets to multiple Super Bowls, outplays Patrick Mahomes, and does stuff that only him and Joe Montana have done, then you can talk to me. Jalen Hurts, he's the one, and he is number 1. Number 2, Jaden Daniels. I knew from the first 4 games of last season that Jaden Daniels was a bigger threat now and long term than Dak Prescott. He's a guy that is a franchise changer and is going to be a headache for a long, long time. He's the truth. He's the goods. He has superstar written all over him, but he's not number 1 until he proves otherwise and accomplishes more stuff. Number 3, I wanted to be nasty and say Russell Wilson, but I'm going to say Jameis Winston. No, I'll play it. I'll put Dak Prescott. I think Dak is a good quarterback. Do I think he's a franchise changer? No. Do I think that he rises in the big moments? Hell no. Do I think that he is also kind of affected by that Cowboys environment of what Jerry Jones has built around him? I do believe that too. But is he that upper echelon tier 1 quarterback? No, he's not. And that's just what he is, bro. He needs a super team around him to be great. And if he doesn't have a super team, he will not be great. I will give him last year when he was second in MVP. He also had a damn good defense. And he also had CD Lamb playing at an ultra elite level. Just saying. And I'll give him last year objectively because he did that without a dominant running game. But still, bro, like, we know a guy in Dak that when it comes time to make that play, to win that game, Dak ain't that guy. He's number 3. And number 4, I'll say Russell Wilson. And Russell Wilson is going to win the Giants 4 to 5 games. They're going to be out of reach to get Arch Manning unless they want to trade a freaking crazy haul, which I don't think that number 1 team that's getting that number 1 overall draft pick is going to do. But maybe it happens for them. I don't know, but that's what that is right there. I wanted to talk about the Eagles drafting Walter Nolan. Now, I started off with the quarterbacks because it was just some fun topic, but I want to talk about the Eagles drafting Walter Nolan. Now, look, I've been very high on Malachi Starks, and I would love for the Eagles to draft him. But if the Eagles don't draft Malachi Starks and Walter Nolan is available, you got to go ahead and draft that man. Now, he coming off Ole Miss, has 6.5 sacks as a defensive tackle. And I'm thinking about this defensive line where it's Jordan Davis and it's Jaylen Carter, Moro Ajomo, Walter Nolan. That rotation is crazy. We already know that Jaylen Carter is that constant factor who's going to play damn near every snap. But that rotation, specifically with Jordan Davis, Ajomo, and Nolan, is pretty lethal on paper. And I fully expect Clint Hurt to maximize the talent on that defensive line. He did that this season, and I expect Vic Fangio to maximize that. And I want you to think about this. Imagine a defensive line with Jaylen Carter, Walter Nolan, and Nolan Smith rushing the passer. Russell Wilson, if you're facing the Eagles and you're up against this, I would just you better just tell Sierra, like, hey, love, you have to rub some bruises off me after this game because it's going to get real bad for you, bro. It's going to get real bad for you, bro. But again, that lineup of Walter Nolan, Jaylen Carter, and Nolan Smith on that defensive line is nasty. And it's something about them Georgia boys, but also them SEC boys. And that's what a guy in Walter Nolan is. He went up against Georgia. He went up against the Tennessees and the other teams in the SEC. So I definitely am high on Walter Nolan. And if he drops and they don't get Malachi Starks, that's a guy that I would love, love, love for the Eagles to go ahead and get. I want to talk about Jahan Dotson real quick. And I'm doing a little bit rapid fire because I'm on my way to Atlanta, but I wanted to give y'all some content before I go out here and dip. And hey, man, I'm cutting it close, but I love y'all. Love this content. We're going to go ahead and make this flight. Like, comment, and subscribe because we doing this and we pressing up against time. But I want to talk about Jahan Dotson. Jahan Dotson virtually all year during the regular season was a non-factor, but he did certain things that opened up plays for his teammates. Remember that mesh concept? Remember that mesh concept with Dallas Goedert and Jahan Dotson, and that led to a Saquon Barkley touchdown against the Saints. And at the time, it felt like that turned around the season at a certain point because we thought the Saints were going to, at least I did, they were going to kill the Eagles the way that the Eagles was looking in the beginning and that defense. And so back to Jahan Dotson. Jahan Dotson in the regular season did the little things, but it did not show up in the stat sheet. But in the biggest moments, in the biggest games, Jahan Dotson performed. And I don't feel like people are really talking about this enough because we see a lot of guys in the regular season, they shine. And then come the playoffs, they fold. Jahan Dotson damn near had as many outside of that Giants game when they had Tanner McKee throwing to him and all that stuff. It's kind of like a garbage game or whatever. But outside of that Giants game, Jahan Dotson had 42 yards, damn near as many receiving yards he had all regular season, and he did that in the Super Bowl. So I'm thinking about this, and I'm saying Jahan Dotson, who we thought would have an immediate impact as that wide receiver 3, it didn't happen like that. But coming off the end of this season, I expect Jahan Dotson to build off this. And when Jalen Hurts trusts you and he trusts you in those big moments, there's going to be more trust when they face the Bills or the Broncos, the Raiders, the Bears, whoever the case may be throughout the regular season. It's going to be a beautiful, beautiful thing to see Jahan Dotson get more involved in this offense, especially if Dallas Goedert leaves and that part of the passing attack is gone. We're going to need Jahan Dotson to step up. I believe in him. Again, it wasn't the best season in the regular season, but come postseason time, he had a touchdown in that Packers game. He had, 42 yards and set up a touchdown, the first touchdown of the Super Bowl. That guy came to play, bro. That guy came to play. I got a lot of respect for him. And then just speaking of a dynasty, I mean, you got Saquon, you got Hurts, you got Smitty, you got AJ being psychos. They are. I mean, AJ, after the Super Bowl, was talking about I'm not satisfied. Devontae on Carmelo Anthony podcast saying, yeah, I feel that. I don't know the last time I seen Jalen Hurts smile. Maybe when he was in Disney. I don't know. Y'all know Saquon be growling and stuff. I'm like, yo, you going crazy, bro. So these guys are real life psychos, and they're showing you that it's a certain mindset you got to have when it comes down to just having that championship level mindset that all of these guys have, bro. And I just want to shout them out, bro, because it is a beautiful sight to see when you have young guys on this team like a Nolan Smith, Jaylen Carter, Quinyon Coop, that they're new to the league and they've gotten so much success. Then you got these guys in Smitty and AJ and Hurts and Saquon that are becoming vets now, and they still have that same hunger. So it's a beautiful mix of those vets, of those superstars, and also those young dogs that are all ready to go ahead and eat. I love it. I love it. I love it. Shout out to the Cowboys for giving the Eagles Saquon. I'm sorry. Shout out to the Cowboys for giving the Eagles Devontae Smith. Now, they ended up trading down, and they got Micah Parsons in the 2021 draft, and the Eagles traded up to get Devontae Smith and jump ahead of the New York Giants. The Giants was like, dang, they wanted Smitty bad. They had to trade down, essentially, and they ended up getting Kadarius Toney. We know how that went. We know how that went. But it wouldn't have been possible to get Devontae freaking Smith, one of the best wide receivers in Eagles history, a guy who on the biggest stage always performs, one of the best receivers that Hurts has played with in his career, all of that and more. We got to thank the Giants for not only Devontae Smith and Saquon Barkley, for Azeez Ojulari. I mean, they're the gift that keeps on giving. I love y'all. Y'all the best rival we could ever have. It feels like y'all are helping us, bro. For real. And then I was talking about A.J. Brown earlier. I'm going to talk about the Patriots. I'm sorry. Message to Patriots fans. You're not getting A.J. Brown. You're not trading for A.J. Brown. I don't care how close Mike Vrabel and A.J. Brown were. I don't really care that he grew up being a Patriots fan. That don't mean nothing. Philly is not trading A.J. Brown. I can bet you that. I can bet you that. A.J. Brown is not Brandon Ayuk. A.J. Brown is not Deebo Samuel. He is a blue chip player that you win Super Bowls with, as long as you have him on your squad. He has that championship mindset. He is a leader on this team, and you're out of your freaking mind if you think the Eagles are going to trade him to the Patriots. For what? For what? For what? He's a top 3 receiver in this league. For real. And his production compared to the amount of touches he gets is ridiculous, bruh. Give this man his respect. The Eagles ain't finna go ahead and trade that man. It's not happening. Not over my dead body. Y'all tripping. I got 2 more things to talk about. I expect Jaylen Carter to really build off what he did in the postseason. Now, it's not a coincidence that Aaron Donald says that Jaylen Carter's next, and then we see Jaylen Carter in the playoffs put on a masterclass. So I expect Jaylen Carter next season to show why he is the best defensive tackle in the league. And we're going to give him that bag, a huge bag. I think that's kind of why Howie is being cautious with the amount of money that he spends in free agency. And they want to go and get guys on a bargain so they can just save their money because they know the inevitable. You got to pay that man bread, man. He about to get some bread. But Jaylen freaking Carter is literally the best replacement for Fletcher Cox. I love Fletch, one of the best Eagles of all time. And Jaylen Carter, a guy that they was saying was a crash out and all this stuff, and he might not pan out in Philly. He's been everything and more for Philly, and we love to have him. And there could be something just saying, like, it's special that he's able to be around all of his guys in college, and you best believe that helps him out too at the pro level. Last thing, bro, it's really funny to me that the Packers was trying to ban the tush push, and they weren't even able to get 24 teams to sign off on it. See, here's the difference between the Eagles and the Packers. The Packers got beat by the Eagles twice. The Packers are butthurt by it, and they're like, oh, well, the tush push is not fair. It's not fair. You didn't lose because of the tush push. You didn't. And again, y'all tried to do it yourselves, and your man Jordan Love almost tore his ACL trying to do that stuff. Versus the Eagles, what was a rule change that they wanted to implement? It was the overtime rule, making it the same in the playoffs as the regular season, where each team gets a fair shot. The thing is, I vividly remember against the Bills in overtime, the Eagles got the ball back and won the game. So it's not like the Eagles are trying to implement a rule where they failed in a certain game. Nah, they actually won, and they're still saying, we want this to be for everybody. It happened to be like that because Josh Allen missed a wide open Gabe Davis, and the Eagles got the ball back, and y'all know Jalen Hurts is that guy. It came up clutch in that game. But it's funny to me that the Packers are trying to implement a rule because they lost versus the Eagles are trying to implement a rule and they won the game in overtime. And their whole rule that they're trying to implement is about the overtime rules. Get what I'm trying to say, bro? I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Like, comment, subscribe. Let's go out here and do it. I'm being Atlanta. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. We are out.